Hi, I'm Rob from Kimpex, joined here today with Zoe from Leatt, here to talk about some mountain bike helmets, which also cover e-mountain bike helmets, if I understand. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, we use a lot of the same helmets in both sides of the sport, but there are different reasons you would go with one versus another.
Yeah, so I've noticed that the lineup for your helmets is quite extensive, and today we're going to clarify some of the differences in each category of helmet. So right off the bat, I'm guessing that because mountain bike and e-bike are together, clearly there's the same protection for if you're riding a mountain bike or a faster mountain bike, which usually is e-bike. Is that right?
That's right. There are some differences inside the helmet in the way it's built, just depending for uh, if you're planning for a certain kind of crash. Of course, nobody plans for crashes, but I think you need to dress for the crash. So there are a few differences internally in certain models. So we've chosen some of our top of the line and let's say more for higher speed kind of crashes models to show here today, just because on e-bikes I think a lot of people end up going a little faster than maybe they intended to at times.
Yeah, I've tried those bikes, and there's no question that you're unnaturally going much quicker than you possibly could if you did not have that electric power. There's no question about it. But I would think that you would try to prepare for the worst. At least I like to do that when it comes to protection and safety. Prepare for the worst and plan for the best,
Yes,
basically.
yes, that's a good way to look at
So I'm sure that all of your helmets, even from the lower end models or the least expensive models, all the way to the top, I'm sure every one of them has focus on safety, and you guys are known for that. So you take it very seriously.
it.
You even
Definitely.
have do you not have your own testing lab
We
as
do,
well
yes, in Cape Town in South
in
Africa.
Cape Town, South Africa,
It's the
and
Leatt Lab.
the Leatt lab
Hmm.
and the Leatt lab, of course, besides the motorcycle gear, the mountain bike gear must also be tested. All your gear is tested there.
Absolutely, yeah. We have test rigs. Some of them we've designed ourselves, and some of them are to standard, regular standards. Of course, we know we have to pass those, but we usually go over and above those standards. So we create
Mhm.
our own tests because Dr. Chris Leatt, for him, those are extremely important.
That's wonderful news to have your own lab because at the beginning, when he started, if I understand it, he had to borrow someone else's lab to test his gear. Because, of course, when you start a company, owning your own lab is a pretty serious investment. Yes?
Yes, yes. We had help from BMW actually to get started. I'm not exactly sure what rigs and things they had in the beginning, but for sure it was enough to
Hmm.
get going until Chris Leatt was able to develop his own tests as well.
Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about the helmets that we have here in front of us today. For me, they all look similar at first glance, but I'm sure there are differences between them.
Yes, absolutely. So here we've got what we call the gravity helmet. In a gravity helmet, it's a full face helmet,
Hmm.
so it's designed to go downhill basically all the time. Then we have what we call the enduro line, and on the enduro helmets, the whole chin bar actually comes off, so you have the option to wear it as a half helmet or
Okay.
as a full face helmet. And then we have another one that's also an enduro helmet. It's just a slightly different model, a few different options on that one. This one you can wear as a half helmet or as a 3/4 or as a full face. So it gives you 3 in 1 on that one.
Okay. So for this one, we have 3-in-1. We have a 2-in-1 with this one. This is full downhill all the time. And I'm guessing because the differences would be the heat, your body temperature increasing if you're doing climbing more than just descending, then therefore that's when you would want the option to begin to remove parts of the helmet.
Exactly. In enduro, often you're riding up to ride down, whereas in gravity, you tend to take a lift up or you get a shuttle, somebody driving you up to the top. So you don't have to
Hence the
spend the
name,
energy there. Yeah, exactly.
all gravity,
All gravity all the
all
time.
downhill.
Whereas with this one, so you would take the chin bar off to ride up, and then you would put it back on for the dangerous downhill part of
The
things.
dangerous descents. Is it easy to take this part off? Could you show us how it comes off
Yes,
of this helmet?
absolutely. I'm just going to move this one here. So with this is the 4.0 Enduro, and basically there's a little lever here. You just pull that up like that, and you do the same on the other side. Like that. And then there's a little hook at the front here. And so you want to actually pull out and forward.
Okay, I look forward to get it off.
So out and forward like that. And now you've got the chin bar and the half helmet.
And the half helmet. And I see that a little later on we're going to show you other half helmets. that do not have this option on it, which are similar, or if not exactly this one. Is that right?
Yeah, so we
Without
have
the
an
ability.
all-mountain line,
Okay.
and that will be this helmet exactly. It's called the 4.0 as well, but 4.0 all-mountain instead of 4.0 enduro, and it comes without the chin bar.
Excellent. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, because I've seen your helmets quite a bit now, and inside, if you could see inside the camera here, there's what you call the turbine technology for protection. Is that right?
That's right.
Turbine technology.
Mhm.
And turbine for me sounds like it would be something to do with like rotation, spinning, which it is.
It is, exactly. Yeah. Some people think it's to do with venting, which it isn't,
It
but
is
it's
not,
because
yeah.
of the shape. So
Okay.
so these little turbines, what they're designed to do is to actually reduce your rotational impacts. So there are other systems on the market that have that same idea. Like one that's very well known is called MIPS.
Hmm.
So this is our version of that idea.
Okay.
It reacts a little bit differently, but just to kind of explain what it does is it reduces your rotational impacts this way inside the helmet by up to 40%.
Wow.
So especially lower speed crashes, you tend to have a lot of deflection like this,
Right.
and that creates basically your head hitting the sides of the helmet on the inside, which can cause concussions as well. So we're learning so much more about concussions these days and at a fast rate now. Now that we know it's a really big issue, so this will really help reduce that.
So it's a type of, that's very interesting because it's a type of armor that actually rotates with the impact, which is something I haven't seen exactly
Mhm.
on the spot itself. And the material itself, what is that material made of?
So yeah, that's a good question. So it's a special kind of gel. Of course, it's secret ingredients, so I can't disclose exactly what's in there. But basically, a 3 millimeter slab of this is a solid slab. Will take the same amount of impact as a bullet would give you, and that's a very thin amount of material. So it absorbs a lot of energy
It's
just
incredible.
linearly
Yeah.
as well, but it's extremely flexible. So we mount it on a little pin that goes inside the EPS of the helmet, so the styrofoam of the helmet on the inside,
Hmm.
and it will allow it to spin in directions that it needs to go as your head moves. So
Right.
in the end, it acts like suspension for your head.
So because it has the ability to be bulletproof at only 3 millimeters, has it been used for that as
It's
well?
well, not as a bulletproof material, but definitely as a high energy absorbing material.
Right.
So the military has used that. They've lined military trucks with this material just to protect the people or the
Hmm.
products inside from impacts that happen around those vehicles. So, of course, we've adapted it to what we're
Yeah,
doing.
that brings me more confidence.
Mhm.
You know, you protect me from a bomb. How about if I just fall off the trail? Yeah, could be good. Very interesting. And depending now within the turbines themselves, I see in the different helmets that some have more and some have less.
Mhm.
Okay, so some of your helmets offer more protection like this, and some a little bit less. Is that right?
Yes. Well, actually, they're always placed strategically around the shell. So even if there are less, it'll still do a similar job. But what we found is we have consumers that don't want to spend as much sometimes. So we offer different levels of price points. But every single helmet that Leatt makes comes with turbine tech in it. If you were to replace, let's say, 5 of these, hypothetically, you never would need to, but 5 of these are quite expensive in a pack. You're looking at about $100 Canadian.
Right. Good protection does not come cheap, does it?
That's right. That's
So you pay for your safety, yes.
right.
Excellent. So this is the three helmets that you are showing here for the downhill mountain biking.
Mm.
And let's take a look at some of the other helmets that you have in the lineup so that we can show the full range of it and perhaps explain a little bit more about the different levels within each helmet themselves. I saw that there was like different ratings from 1, 2, 3, 4 and such.
Yeah. Oh, actually, those aren't ratings. It's just more features. So the higher the number, the more features you would get.
Right.
Safety is always number one, so they're all safe.
Hmm.
But like you say, there are different options. So yeah, we've got the 4.0 Enduro helmet here. Basically, this one is designed to be worn as a full face helmet more than 51% of the time. And the reason I say that is the way it's built on the inside, the internals, the actual structure of the shell is designed for, let's say, higher speed crashes. And the reason for that, or how that works, is we've got the white, basically the white styrofoam here, the EPS, that is a certain density, and that's what we use on most of our helmets in general. And then you have the black foam that is actually inserted into the white foam, and that's called EPO.
Okay.
And it's a different density of foam. And so for higher speed impacts, you've got two densities reacting together to reduce that higher speed crash. So if you know, okay, I'm going to be wearing it more for downhill, but I still want the chin to come off, this is a good helmet to go to. However, if you're somebody who only does that once in a while and most of the time is riding trails where you want an open face helmet, then the 3.0 is a better choice for you. And the reason for that on this one, I'll just swap that out, is it's actually, you can tell it's quite a bit smaller physically than the other one.
Right. I can see that, yeah.
Yeah. It was just to do with the internals. So with this one, instead of using EPS and EPO, we use EPS, but we do have something called a power bridge. And that's this brighter orange. It goes all the way across like this. And that gives it a lot more structure. But it will crumple at a different kind of speed of impact. So it's designed a little bit more for your trail type of riding versus your downhill. But it's still DH approved.
Right, so they're all DH approved.
These three, yes.
These three, it's just depending on what you're going to do with it. And it seems that the more you increase in speed, that's what would move you up in category as well, with protection and overall rigidity and weight and whatnot.
Exactly.
Which is important to factor in, because if you're doing more cross country or anything like that, lighter is better because things get hot and heavy very fast. Do they not? So within each helmet, they have a different classification systems, right? You have a number system, a tiering number system within each helmet. And as you go up in numbers, the features increase.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So basically, we classify them with a name. So we've got gravity, enduro, and then we add numbers. So sometimes it goes from 1 to 8.0 on the mountain bike side, and then on the moto side we tend to do a 0.5. So we go from a 2.5 to a 9.5 on the moto side.
But it always remains the same. And of course, the higher the number, the more features that you're going to be getting, and probably, of course, an increase in price as well, because features cost. So going from the bottom of the line all the way up to the top of the line.
Yeah, so it's a good way to know where you sit in the line when you look at those numbers. Exactly.
Excellent. So beside these are the mountain biking helmets. What other helmets did you bring today that we can check out?
Yeah, so there's more to the mountain bike line. So yeah, after gravity and enduro, we've got what we call all mountain. I'm just going to grab those. So this is your 4.0 all mountain helmet, and this is your 1.0 all mountain helmet. So they sit in the same range, but again, more feature rich on the 4.0. And actually you can see this is the 4.0 gravity. This is the 4.0 enduro.
Right.
And that's the 4.0 all mountain. So they tend to be very similar on the top side of the helmet. It's just the features that change for the style of riding.
Right. So what would you recommend, let's say, what style of riding would you recommend this helmet for vs this helmet?
So this one, again, if you're doing a lot more higher speed stuff, I would go for the 4.0. And it's more vented as well. So if you are somebody that pedals a lot, you'll probably prefer this helmet over this one. This is cost effective and it has vents, but just less vents than the other one. It's a little bit lower profile. It is lighter. And then there's other little details, like your 4.0 comes with a fidlock buckle, which is that magnetic buckle. So with gloves on, it's really easy to close and to open.
That's an interesting buckle, because I was playing with it earlier and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I'm trying to pick at it and stuff. And it's actually far simpler than you would ever imagine. You just slip your index and your thumb and it just slides off.
There are different versions of fidlocks, and we might change a few. You might have different ones on different helmets, but you're right. The idea is you just squeeze like that. It
slips off, yeah.
And then it just clicks.
That's probably the simplest mechanism I've ever seen in helmets.
It's really nice when you're out
there.
Yeah,
it's very nice. I like that.
Especially if you're in the enduro helmet and you're taking it on and off to put the jaw on and take it off all the time. So it's nice.
Yeah, it's a very nice feature. Do these two helmets have the same quantity of turbines in them?
No, they don't actually. Usually the higher the number and the name, the more turbines you have. But they are always strategically placed. So you can see here. where they are. Like there's a few
Right.
less on the back of this one, and these are a little bit more all around.
Okay.
But we've tested all that, so they're put in specific spots on purpose.
Wonderful. Is there anything you want to add to this in the lineup that people should know, or maybe they have, I think, information that they might be interested in?
I think if especially if safety is one of your main most important things, definitely read into the 360-degree turbine tech
Hmm.
and maybe the competitors, and you can kind of make up your own mind on, you know, what makes sense to you. But for us, our turbine tech is you know, it addresses multiple issues, whereas some of the competitors may not.
And there you have it. Leatt offers an extensive line of mountain biking and e-mountain biking helmets. Everything for the different style of riding and the different budgets as well. You can go to kimpex.com to read up on all the details of all of these helmets here and check out all the cool colors. They're great looking products. I think they look fantastic, and I think you will enjoy them. And also, if you enjoy being safe, which is the whole point of wearing a helmet, isn't it? Zoe, thank you very much for joining today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Rob, for this
Thanks.
opportunity.
Appreciate you coming all the way from BC,
Yeah, BC.
the promised land. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. See you soon.